What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Stuff You Should Know, a podcast hosted by Josh Clark and Charles W. Chuck Bryant, part of the How Stuff Works collective of informational like media, I guess you could say. It's a show that I've subscribed to for, close to a decade, I'm sure. It started back in 2008. I probably subscribed to it maybe starting 2010, let's say, 2009 maybe. But it's one of those shows I've kind of gone off and on. But it's brain food podcast, so it just depends on my desire to be educated on stuff. Which there's a lot of brain food podcasts out there, but this is one of the classic old school ones. It's just every episode they explain how something works, and it's everything. I mean, they've done well over 1,000 episodes. If you thought about how something works, like how refrigerators work, how does bronchitis work? How do marker boards work? How do TVs work? How do LCD TVs work? Pretty much anything you could think of as a thing that you would want to know how it works. But not only like functional like machines, but like how does democracy work? How does how does paint dry? It's just both the hosts, they're very good at what they do. They're professional hosts, great sound quality. They do a lot of research. They both write for the website How Stuff Works. So a lot of the shows basically come directly from articles that were written for the website. And then they take those articles and they break them down, and they have conversations, and they have, they question things, and they make it really entertaining. And really, let me see, I'm pretty sure they're not super long episodes either. But see, like half hour, 40 minutes. They have short ones that are like 13. I guess some are like an hour long. So anywhere from like 15 minutes to an hour of information. So not super long, not like a Joe Rogan 3-hour long podcast, but definitely interesting. And they break things down in just such a good way, since they've already been written out in long form. It's such an organized way in which they can break it down for you to for me to follow along and actually learn. And it's just one of those podcasts where you can put it on and you listen to it, and maybe you pay attention, maybe you don't, but if you do, you're gonna you soak up. I'm sure there's been so many things, like I can't recall offhand things that I've specifically learned from watching or listening to this show. But for sure, it has informed me on things, on the correct way of things, because there's something that humans do that I noticed a lot selling electronics. I sold electronics for 10 years. And there's something people do when they don't know something, when they're kind of ignorant. They'll still come up with an idea of how they think something works. Like their brain is still going to try and fill in those missing holes of knowledge to really kind of flesh out how things actually work. And sometimes people are open to changing their thoughts on how things work, and some people are willing to just dig their heels in the ground and stay convinced that it is amazing the times that I've, not in a rude way, but just, kind of an educational way, because a lot of what sales is just educating people on the differences and the benefits and the downsides, and finding what product fits best to help with their needs. Because somebody who buys something that is able to fulfill a lot of their needs, they're going to get a lot of use out of. That's a good sale. That's something that they're, that's where I worked at Costco, where people could just return anything for any reason. So, I didn't get commission. So being able to match somebody with the right thing is the number one goal, and being educated on something and being able to clarify how things actually work and what the benefits of certain things are over other things is a very important thing that a lot of people are missing and generally are misinformed and have the funniest of kind of ideas of how things work and what the important things are because of mainly because marketing. The companies are trying to sell. The way companies sell things through marketing is like mostly deception, right? They're trying to come up with fancy ways. Like I remember when Best Buy came out with their 4D marketing campaign where they were selling 4D, and it was a big joke because there is no 4D. But it was all about Best Buy selling the newest and best thing. And there were literally people coming into Costco asking if we sold 4D TVs like Best Buy did. And when you try to educate them on, their misguidedness in falling for a marketing campaign, some people dug their heels in and other people didn't. But that's just about human. So this is what I'm saying. Watch stuff you should know. And if they present something that disagrees with what you previously thought something worked, then be open to the fact that you're wrong and that you may want to change your opinion to what has been studied and what we know through science, how it explains the life we're living in now versus a lot of people, you read a book that's old and you get ideas of how things work, or, it's just growing up. Your parents told you like, oh, this thing works this way. This is how this thing works. And just growing up, you never really questioned it because that's what you got as an answer. And it's never really needed. You never really needed to have the clarification of how that thing actually is, but now you can, and you can have Josh and Chuck educate you on it. But yeah, I love it. If you're looking for a podcast they're not talking down to you. It's not over the head like a TED Talk. Sometimes TED Talks can be over my head. Like these guys, like they break it down in a way where it's not like for kids. They're not babying it for you, but it's also not speaking over your head in a lot of ways. They're very good at translating the difficulties of whatever the hell, and there are some things that are very difficult to explain, and even in the explanations sometimes they have problems wrapping their head around it because, let's face it, life is pretty complex, and some things, how they work, there's a lot of variables involved, and it can get kind of confusing to even the most seasoned of veterans. But go check out Stuff You Should Know. They do live shows. I think they did some TV shows at one point. But it's a very educational and a good show that I love, and it's always in my podcast feed for when I feel like feeding my brain with some new info. But that's it for this episode. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. You can buy my original artwork over at InspiredDisorder.com and save 25% when you use coupon code RTS at checkout. Follow me on social media at Ray Taylor. Have a great day, everybody. Peace out!